Warm welcome, Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch. It's the 20th of March 2024. The Sun is in the sign of Aries. This is 0 point Aries. This is the start of the spring in the northern hemisphere and the start of autumn in the southern hemisphere. And 0 point Aries, as you might know, is the only possibility really to have a measurement, a scale for measurement in time. Scientists might have taught you that this works through atomic clocks and things like that. It actually doesn't, because they still need the scale of the second, and also atomic clocks depend on gravity and can't measure time, therefore. We'll find out about that in an upcoming civilization. Now let's have a look at the chart of the day. This is how it looks. The Sun is going to organize itself towards Chiron and Mercury and the North Node in the sign of Aries. But the governing planet of Aries is Mars, and Mars is still taking its residence in the sign of Aquarius. So there are some deliberating thoughts and facts and actions out there, even if it's not in the news. The overall situation is that we have a trine situation from the Sun towards the Moon. The Moon is in Leo, another fire sign, another very optimistic and outgoing and shining, actually sun shining moon sign. But as you might notice, and this is the signature of this ingress in the sign of Aries, in my point of view, is the opposition in between Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto still in direct motion, and the Moon opposing Pluto. Now, Pluto could be seen as the uprising idea of social freedom again, and opposing Moon in Leo is that, well, there's a balancing out needed in between the happy life energies that Pluto could transport if he wouldn't be Pluto. Actually, it's the other way around. The happy life energy the Moon should transport, and Pluto is kind of blocking that. Pluto says, okay, you might think it's time for party, the Moon in Leo, but we still have to have another quarrel. I don't want to use military words, but we going to have another battle about freedom. It's not over yet. That's the overall situation, and very, very interesting. As you see, Mercury and Chiron are being kind of bound together with a north node. So that's where it's at, that's where it's going. And as you know, Chiron in the sign of Aries usually picks up the side of the fighter, but at least we had the Pope, pronouncing that it might be a more bold action to go to negotiations, especially if something is lost. That's the situation. As I said, and as I told you in one of those sessions in recent days, the prediction for the quarter year actually is the new moon in Pisces. It's not the Sun in Aries, it's the new moon in Pisces. And we've seen the new moon in Pisces with the reception of Uranus and Venus at that time. It's all about reconstructing freedom and wealth, owning things. This is actually what the moon in Pisces, the new moon in Pisces, promised us. And there was a nice sign, because Mercury, at the very time when the fresh new moon was in Pisces, a few days ago, he had entered the sign of Aries already. And if we look at the chart that puts it all together, you see inside the new moon in Pisces and outside, this is the situation today. The sun, as it is at 0 point Aries, touches the Mercury of the new moon in Pisces. So this is actually what it's all about. This is the most interesting thing of this chart. And Mercury himself moved, because outside this is the actual situation, moved towards the North Node and Chiron, and does say it even more pronounced. This is the chance of healing by initiative action. This is what it is about. Aries is a sign of activity, is a sign of doing things, is a sign of starting things. And when Mercury is at the side of Aries, you might just even have spontaneous ideas about changing the situation. This is like the morning queen at the evening show. This is Mercury getting out and saying, bad times might have been the past, but now we are in the situation of foreseeing a future that is mainly dependent on our own activity, on what we do. Get out of passiveness. Get out of just looking around and say, I can't do nothing at all myself. It's your life and it's your structures that have to be saved, rebuilt, established. That is what it's all about. 0 point Aries, with a strong impact of healing energy. That's what the world actually needs. Thank you very much for listening. This is Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch. If you want to get in contact, to have an impression where Mercury is giving his activities in your chart, that means where is Aries in your chart, we can find out about that. Just send me time, place and date where you were born up to this email address. Down here at my German blog site, you'll find the conditions for a consultation. This is Markus Termin at the 20th of March 2024.